Hello, everybody, and welcome to Penguins to Go, your daily dose of Pittsburgh Penguins news and analysis. You can find us on YouTube at Inside the Penguins or anywhere you get your podcasts from. I'm your host, Nick Brlansky, and before we get started, just pulling back the curtain a little bit, I am recording this on Tuesday morning because I will be traveling Wednesday. But I did want to get you guys your daily dose of Penguins talk, so here we are talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins special teams. It has been kind of the reason the Penguins have been so successful in the past calendar month, specifically since the calendar flipped to the month of December. So the question is this success that they have found in the past couple of weeks, the past 10 games, the last 10% of the season, is that success that we've seen from both the power play and the penalty kill something that this team will be able to sustain the rest of the season? Now, we understand everything fluctuates in the NHL. 82 games is a long, long season. So not everything is going to stay at the same level the whole way through. It's just not possible. But the question is, can they stay relatively on the same path that they've set themselves up for in the calendar month of December to this point? Let's start with the power play. As of right now in this recording, they have goals in 8 straight games. I mentioned it on yesterday's episode. That is the first time that they've been able to accomplish this feat since the 2015-16 season. A year in which, yes, they won the Stanley Cup. So you like drawing those parallels, obviously. But in that stretch of games, they have 11 goals in those 8 games and have the 6th best power play in the National Hockey League. For a unit that was undescribably awful for the first portion of the season, the first 20% of the season, basically, this Penguins power play was inept, is the word that I used. They couldn't get shots on goal. And when they had the actual power play set up, they never took the shots on goal, and they spent more time in their own zone trying to break the puck out than they did in the zone creating opportunities. But they've turned that around. And it's not come from one specific player or 2 specific players. It's come from everybody on that unit, and also has been helped and aided by the Penguins' second power play unit, which has had some very good minutes in this last stretch of games. So the scoring, I said, has come from everyone. Gensel leads all Penguins goal scorers in the last 8 on the power play with 3 goals. Rickard Rakell has 2 goals. Kasperi Kapanen has 2 goals. Malkin has 1. P.O. Joseph has 1. Jeff Carter has 1. And Sidney Crosby has 1. So we mentioned it's 11 goals, but it is 11 goals from 7 players. Should have counted that beforehand. 11 goals from 7 different players, leading to the Pittsburgh Penguins power play being much, much improved. So what's changed? I know the one thing a lot of people are going to point to is Rickard Rakell got placed on the top unit and Brian Rust got demoted to the second. Okay. I do think that has somewhat of a key. Obviously, Rakell has 2 power play goals. Something has been working. But I don't think that it's just that. Do I think it helps? Yes. I think Rakell belongs on that top power play unit. But I think the biggest change for the Penguins has been in their scheme. Not personnel, but scheme. I mentioned this and talked about this on the first ever edition of Penguins to Go. I have the receipts. You can go back and look at it. The episode is titled, "The Penguins Are Wasting Jake Gensel." So clearly, I was talking about the power play. And you can go back and I basically laid out what they needed to do. And since then, they've done it. Now, I'm not going to take any credit for it because I'm sure this is an idea that the hockey minds of the Pittsburgh Penguins coaching staff knew way before me. But it's something that I saw that needed changed and I mentioned it. And apparently, the coaching staff agreed. What they changed was this team needed more movement. This team needed less focus on just Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang setting things up. And this team needed to shoot the puck on the net more. What we've seen is the scheme change almost entirely because beforehand it was Malkin and Letang passing the puck back and forth, trying to get an open shooting lane, and then trying to get it down to Crosby, who throws it towards the net. But it just wasn't working. Teams had figured it out. It was easy to play against the Penguins' power play, so they changed it up. There's a lot more movement. Players are switching position constantly, which we've seen Crosby in front of the net. We've seen Gensel in front of the net. We've seen Raquel in front of the net. We've even seen Malkin move down low as well. They're always moving. They're always changing positions, and that's opening up shooting lanes and also making it tougher for teams to defend them. There's also been more of an emphasis on shooting the puck and then retrieving rebounds. It doesn't have to be the perfect passing play, and the Penguins are finally starting to understand that. Get the puck on the net, let players like Jake Gensel, like Sidney Crosby, like Rickard Rakell either get the rebound or fight for the rebound and try to get the puck back in rotation as quick as possible so the other team doesn't have time to readjust. Because of all this, the puck's staying in the zone more. That was one of the most mind-numbing things about this power play is they were always going back to their own zone to retrieve the puck because they couldn't keep the puck in the zone. They couldn't keep possession. They couldn't keep the pressure on. And that made it hard for them to build any momentum on every single man advantage. Well, that's changed now. They're keeping it in the zone. They're getting multiple opportunities every single time they get the man advantage. And it's working out in spades for them. Like we mentioned, goals in 8 straight, 11 goals in the past 8 games, and the 6th best power play unit in the month of December in the National Hockey League. That's vastly important. That's one of the main reasons they had that 7-game win streak to start the month. So it's very important that the Pittsburgh Penguins power play is clicking on all cylinders. They have been for this month. Let's move over to the penalty kill before we talk about whether or not this is sustainable. The penalty kill is currently ranked 4th in the National Hockey League. It's been going for a little bit longer than the power play on this current stretch. They really turned things around when Teddy Blueger returned to the lineup. His first game of the season was November 15th against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we always talked about, hey, when Blueger returns, this penalty kill is going to get better, but I don't know how much better it's going to get. I will say, I'm going to eat some crow here. I think I undersold the importance of having a guy like Teddy Blueger out there for the penalty kill, because the Pittsburgh Penguins have been marginally better. Not marginally, sorry, substantially better, on the penalty kill since he's come back. Since that happened, the Penguins have a 93.2% success rate on the penalty kill, which is far and away the best marks in the National Hockey League. So for the past month and 5 days, the Pittsburgh Penguins have clearly had the best penalty kill in the National Hockey League. A stark turnaround from where they were at the beginning of the season, where they were in the bottom 5 of the entire league. The next closest team to them in the past month is the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are at 83.7%. So almost a 10% difference between the Penguins and the rest of the pack in the NHL over the past month. That is a tremendous job by Mike Vellucci and the Pittsburgh Penguins penalty kill. Now, it's not all Teddy Blueger. Teddy Blueger has been a big help. Don't get me wrong. Teddy Blueger is a very important figure on that unit. But there are 2 other major factors. One is time. Mike Sullivan mentioned it a lot at the beginning of the season. The Penguins had a lot of new faces on their penalty kill. Jeff Petrie coming into the fold for Montreal. Marcus Pettersson, who had not really played much penalty kill in previous seasons with the Penguins, was going to get an elevated role on that unit. Jan Ruda coming over from Tampa Bay. Ryan Poehling coming over with Jeff Petrie from Montreal. And they were even trying out Kasperi Kapanen on that unit, which thankfully that experiment is done. Kasperi Kapanen no longer an option for the Penguins penalty kill. So you had a lot of new faces. Those guys needed time to gel in general with the team, let alone on a penalty killing unit. But that's all come together. They've played together long enough. They know each other's tendencies now, and that's helped revitalize this penalty kill and make it what it is today, which is top 5 in the National Hockey League. The other factor, and the most important factor, I might add, is goaltending. Tristan Jarry found his footing around the same time the Pittsburgh Penguins penalty kill started to excel. That's not a coincidence, folks. The reason this unit has been so successful, other than the fact that they are playing better as a unit, skater-wise, Tristan Jarry has been otherworldly. Before that game on November 15th, Tristan Jarry had played in 9 games. On the penalty kill, he had an .842 save percentage, a .733 save percentage on high danger opportunities, and he had given up 9 goals on 15 high danger chances. So he was giving up a goal per game on the penalty kill. Not good enough. And listen, that wasn't all on him. The defense, like I mentioned, wasn't there. But he was also struggling. Right? We all remember the, quote, physical issues he was dealing with. But since that game, from that game on, I should say, 11 games, so around the same sample size, a .930 save percentage, hasn't given up a single goal to a high danger opportunity, a 1,000 high danger save percentage, and has only allowed 3 goals on 8 high danger chances. So in the same sample size, 2 actually more games played, the Penguins have given up half as many high danger chances and have given up 1/3 as many actual goals. Not to mention the fact that Tristan Jarry hasn't given up a single high danger goal on the man disadvantage for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Those numbers are ridiculous. Going from letting in almost half of the goals or half of the chances that are high danger to allowing none. And credit to the defense as well. Cutting that figure in half is also impressive. So the Pittsburgh Penguins penalty kill, Teddy Bluger's return, the meshing of these new players on the penalty kill, and most importantly, Tristan Jarry's performance have all been astounding over the past month, leading to them being the top penalty killing unit in the league in December and the top 4 in the entire season, making up for that early season struggle. So my final thoughts on this. Are these things sustainable? The penalty kill is probably going to come back to earth a little bit. I think when you see those numbers from Tristan Jarry, you understand that there's going to be a little bit of regression to the mean. It's bound to happen. But I still think the way that this team is playing, the way that they're finding that success, that's a sustainable model. Play good defense, keep all of the pucks and the shots coming from the outside of the net, allow minimal high danger chances, and have a really good goaltender. That's what they've been doing. That's a sustainable model. And the one other thing that I haven't mentioned, when you get the puck on your stick, it goes the whole way to the length of the ice. They've been doing that a lot more. Instead of just blatantly turning and trying to throw it down the ice, they're making smart plays. If they're covered, they're knowing where these other guys are on the ice so they can feed it to a teammate and he can get an easy dump down. They're playing really well. I don't think they can sustain 93%. That's unbelievable. But I do think when they level off, they're still a top 10, probably a top 5 unit in the National Hockey League. So yeah, I think the penalty kill is sustainable. Now the power play, I think not only is it sustainable, I think we have more to see from the Penguins' man advantage. It's only starting to scratch the surface of what they could become because of this new scheme. You've seen instant results from them switching things around. Instant results from Raquel going up on that unit. Instant results from moving Evgeny Malkin off of that point, from moving Jake Gensel all around the zone, from moving Sidney Crosby from the net front to the side to the point. They're just starting to scratch the surface of what that power play can become in the new scheme. So do I think it's sustainable? Yes. In fact, I think that it could get much more potent. It's ranked 19th in the National Hockey League right now. As of this recording, I mentioned a lot. 8 straight games with a power play goal. I think they could be much more lethal, much more dangerous, and I think they could also be a top 10 unit in the National Hockey League. I mean, with the talent that's there, they should be in the first place. But considering the way they started, considering the way they looked in the first month of the season to how they look now, it's a difference of night and day. So the Pittsburgh Penguins have an opportunity to have two of the best special teams units in the National Hockey League. That's going to make them a really tough out once the season comes to the brighter months, March, April, May, and hopefully in June. That's going to do it for this special episode of Penguins to Go. Again, apologies for not having the updated stats with last night's New York Rangers game, but we will be back tomorrow on this feed with a full episode of Tip of the Ice-Burgh with me and with Nick Horwat, and then, of course, a Penguins to Go on Friday to send you off onto your holiday weekend. That's going to do it for this one. Make sure you find us on YouTube at Inside the Penguins or anywhere you get your podcast from. Have a great day, Pens fans.